Hey guys, good to see you again and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lou and today we're going to be talking about the wonderful world of female bettas. Now, a while back I posted a video on how to create a mini pond, and a lot of you have been asking questions around how have I managed to keep female bettas together peacefully. So in this video, I'll be covering my tips and tricks, and hopefully that will help you at some point when you decide to actually put together your own sorority. But before we dive in, if you're new here, welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified of my next video. Unfortunately, I often hear that when people try to keep a sorority, they often fail. Although female bettas are not as aggressive as male bettas, they are still aggressive towards one another. This is a rather confusing topic for betta enthusiasts, as there are tons of conflicting information out there, and I've been wanting to cover this topic for some time. But to tell you the honest truth, I'm still continually learning new things about this fascinating hobby, and I wanted to gather as much information as I can in this one video. I believe that under the right circumstances, they can be kept successfully as a happy community. And I'm here to share my own experiences keeping my sorority. Not to say that this is the only way, but I'm hoping that these best practices will minimize the chances of failure. Tip number 1. Setting up the perfect habitat. Tip number 1 is all about creating the perfect habitat for your sorority. Female bettas can often coexist peacefully, but proper habitat setup is key in my opinion. I'd say the bigger the better for their habitat. A 20 plus gallon or 75 plus liter capacity tank would be ideal. But when this isn't possible, you should at least aim for a 10-gallon tank, or that's around 38 liters, with plenty of hiding spots and decorations. Having said that, I've also been successful keeping them in a no-tech mini pond, and you may have seen some of my Instagram posts featuring this pond. Decoration-wise, live plants not only add a natural touch, but also provide plenty of hiding spots and contribute to a stable ecosystem. The more hiding spots they have, the more confident your bettas will be. Besides, live plants do most of the work keeping the water clear. As well as oxygenating the water, it provides a natural environment for your fish. I have a variety of plants like Amazon swords, water lily, tiger lotus, Anubias, and Pucepelandrus in this mini pond. The floating leaves also give my betta an area to rest and sunbathe. I won't go into the details of betta tank setup and best practices as I've covered this topic on other videos. But just a little quick note that I live in a tropical climate, therefore a no-tech setup is possible for me. If you live in a cold climate, please don't do this and make sure that you're using a heater for your bettas. Tip number 2. Picking and introducing your betta sisters. So now that you have the perfect habitat, it's time to pick your female bettas. This is a really important topic in my opinion, as many may not be aware, but there are certain aspects to choosing your betta group that will determine its success. I know it will sound very prescriptive, but bear with me as I explain. As we all know, all betta fish come with a wide variety of personalities, and it's impossible to predict them. Some are naturally more aggressive than others, and you never know which betta personality you may get in a batch. So far, I've been lucky enough to only come across 1 or 2 extremely aggressive females. To reduce the risk, you could pick bettas of the same size and age, and I would highly recommend getting them all at the same time, from the same batch and from the same breeder, so that you can introduce them all together in their new habitat. This will reduce territorial behavior and bullying. In my sorority, I'm currently only keeping Dumbo ear females, mostly because they are sisters, and for the aesthetics of course, and I love seeing them flutter about the pond. But if you decide to keep different betta breeds, this is also possible, though fin nipping may be a high risk for Dumbos. I've also heard that choosing different colored female bettas will also reduce the risk of aggression. I personally have not seen much differences between the different color bettas to draw any conclusion. Lastly, I know that sometimes you're left with no choice but to replace a betta fish in your sorority. And in this scenario, you could do the introduction using floating method and release the new betta during a mealtime, and make sure to keep the tank dark during the release. Then keep an eye over the coming weeks to make sure your new betta blends in well with the group. Tip number 3. Group dynamics. Tip number 3 is all about understanding the dynamics of your betta community. It's crucial to introduce them properly and monitor their behavior at all times. This is a common reason why betta sorority may fail. Early on in my research, I read somewhere that there's a magic number to keep a peaceful sorority, and that's the number 5. I tested this and proven its success. So my recommendation is to start with a group of at least 5 females, and if you're keeping more than 5, to keep an uneven number to distribute aggression and reduce the risk of dominance. I currently have 7 bettas in my pond, and I've not come across any aggression between them, apart from the occasional playful chasing. Tip number 4. Feeding. In this section, we'll be talking about feeding strategies. When feeding your betta, ensure a healthy, balanced diet. I feed mine with high-quality betta pellets, flakes, live food, and occasional treats like bloodworms. It is tricky to monitor all of your betta's feeding intake, especially in a larger group. Overfeeding can lead to many health issues, and I know I've come across a lot of unpleasant experiences in the past with overfeeding that led to organ failure, pine coning, and ultimately their demise. So my advice is to feed small amounts multiple times a day. I find that feeding them well and feeding them enough prevents aggressions too. Tip number 5. Monitor their behavior. Please keep a close eye on your new community. Ensure that there's not one betta being pushed to a corner or getting bullied. They will inevitably chase each other from time to time and flare at each other, and this is normal behavior. I also noticed that this behavior is most visible during feeding. They somehow show their territorial side to the area where food drops. What you should keep an eye out for is fin nipping, whereby a fish is biting another fish and bullying them to the point where they stop the other fish from eating. This is a type of aggression that requires us to step in. At this point, I would suggest separating the bully and reintroducing her after a few days or so. Last but not least, tip number 6. Monitor their health. Keep an eye out for any changes in their behavior, or color, or finnage. And if a betta changes their color, keeps to itself, stays in one place, doesn't swim much, or stops eating, it's more likely that your betta is either injured or extremely stressed out. In this instance, observe your sorority and find the aggressor and isolate the victim so you can medicate them and reduce their stress too. Maintaining a clean tank is also key if you have a large group of fish living in a community. Make sure that you do your regular water changes, and I would highly recommend catappa leaves or catappa extracts to help your bettas feel more at home. If you have a new fish, remember to quarantine new additions before introducing them to the sorority to prevent the spread of diseases. Prevention is always better than cure, they say. And there you have it, some tips and tricks on how to keep female bettas peacefully together. Remember to do your own research, as any information that I'm sharing with you today is based on my own experience, and I would strongly suggest for you to do as much reading up as possible. And I hope you find this video helpful, and if you do, please remember to leave a thumbs up and also share it with your other fish friends. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, bye!